It gets the lion's share of attention. And if you'll permit my religious church history analogy to continue, it's always treated as the moment of Annunciation. And it is the moment when the phrase human rights enters the English language. And it is terrifically important. Now let me turn a bit skeptical for a bit. This typical story that's set on the idea that the 40s are a moment of breakthrough, which would begin already in 1941, before the Americans enter the war with the Atlantic Charter. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a document that FDR and Churchill produce to say, what is this war about, even though the Americans can't be driven into it until they're bombed. And they say it's about 4 freedoms: the freedoms of speech and religion, and the freedom from want, and freedom from fear, which people tend to think the last means something like a secure world in which war doesn't continuously crop up. That's seen as the point of origin, although at that point, human rights have not entered high politics. It's not, that phrase has to wait until 1942. Somehow, there's a line traced from that Atlantic Charter through the 1948 Universal Declaration. Now, I want to suggest that we look more closely at the 40s. And instead of seeing them just as simple Annunciation, look more carefully at a kind of 2 big stages in the history of the human rights idea. Now, what does it really mean in these early forms? Because as of 42, FDR does start to talk about it as part of a list. And it's true that American international lawyers do start to get excited about it. And they do things like draft potential lists for an international Bill of Rights in 42 and 3. What do we say about those human rights? I think the first thing to say.
So apparently in Australia now you need a prescription for nicotine.